Come, all you moonshiners, if you want to hear about the
Well,
kind of booze
greetings,
that's around here.
enthusiasts,
Made way back
fellow
in
hobbyists,
Crawford
and
Hill.
our community. I'm George from Barley and Hops, and we're going to do a real short video today. But if you get the opportunity, comment below. We enjoy that. Answer everything we possibly can. Of course, share us with your friends. Keep us alive. Subscribe. That's all it takes. All right. I've learned recently that a lot of the information that we post about our tutorials on PIDs, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is PIDs, very briefly. But some of the information is kind of buried in the video, and some people like to fast forward through it and back and forth, and that's quite all right. So sometimes I miss it. So, and we've had some challenges where, we've had people order the wrong PID because sometimes they're a little bit less expensive. And we'll explain all of that. And I'm also going to show you exactly how I cut the box so that the PID fits in it perfectly, and it's relatively simple. All you're going to need today, if you don't already have it, is I use one of these as like a caliper. It just measures the outside dimensions of something. Razor, what would some people call an X-Acto knife? Oh, of course, a pencil. Oh, some hard cardboard paper. And I'm going to use this plastic lid from a nail box just as a demonstration. And I like to use a little spin wheel, and I put a blade on the end of it, and that way I get to cut anything I really need to. Use a Dremel. There's many options for you, but this is just how George does it. So here in a few seconds, we're going to get started, and I'm going to show you exactly everything you really need to know. I mean, the most important parts about these PIDs. So, and this is just selection and mounting. Be right with you. Well, here we are with two PIDs. Now we're going to do, I'll show you a couple things about this, but we're also going to go through those pesky little white keepers that hold it in place. So these things look exactly alike. And see, some of the challenges we have are folks wind up buying one PID over the other. Although they look exactly alike, there's no difference between the two in how they look and primarily how they operate, except for one key function, and that is using the solid state relay if we're going to try to use it with a heating element. Now let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, here, this is, you can't even tell from the front which one is which. But if you roll them over on the side, here's what's critical. Oh, and this buried in a couple of our videos, and we made a really strong comment about it, but people keep missing it. This is a TA4 SNR plus K. Now, the plus K, that's with thermocouple, a K-type sensor. And this one is a TA4 RNR, which is the one that we always recommend, and unless you're doing something like really low voltage, you don't want to use that because it uses an internal relay. Here's the difference. If you look down here at the wiring diagram, you'll see that on the out, see it says output relay. The output pins 3 and 4 run a relay that's internal. So you provide power to one and you power to the other one to your device, and then when it's tripped, that circuit closes and it operates, that's the relay inside, it operates whatever device you have attached to it. Whereas opposed to, if you look over here, see this output says SSR, solid state relay. So you've got the 3 to 32 volts of direct current that this thing produces. Here's pins 3 and 4. 3 is negative, 4 is positive, because it is polarity specific. So when your PID trips, it sends that signal through these two wires to the SSR, which is listed here. So that's the difference between the two, and it's very critical. The RNR runs you anywhere from $18 to $22, give or take, and depending on who's selling it. Your SNR is going to run you about 28. It may be up as high as 32. It all depends on what comes with it. Sometimes they have the heat sink, the SSR, and the thermocouple. Sometimes it's just the controller itself. You can find it a little bit more inexpensive. But don't be fooled by the price. Always look in and make sure it says output SSR, not relay. Okay? We got that. Here's another tip And we're going to use the SNR. I'll put that one aside. On the SNR, you know, a lot of times when people call in, you know, we'll start discussing, you know, some of the challenges you have with it. And if you got it all set and it's working, once it gets going, I'll always say, have you auto-tuned it yet? And the auto-tune button is right here. That's what the AT stands for, auto-tune. And while it's in operation, and I'll do this a couple of times during the process, while it's working and it's starting to get, and it gets close to your first set temperature, I'll just push the auto-tune button and hold it. And you hold it until this AT light comes on. And what that does is there's an algorithm in here. It starts to adjust your parameters to best fit your process. When it's done, that AT light will go out by itself. Now later on, when you get process gets a little bit further down the road, you want to really fine tune it. Push the AT button and hold it. That light will come on, release the button, and it'll fine tune those parameters, and then that AT light will go off by itself. Now it'll stay that way until the next time you use it. So that's just a good point. All right, here's how I actually cut these out, just in case, and you can fast forward this if you like, but I use one of these outside calipers just to measure. And if I set it on the outside here, because you'll notice that there's a lip right here that goes to the outside of the box. So I want to measure the size of the PID so it'll fit in the hole. So I go right up under that lip and I close it, and so that's how big it is in this direction. Well, the great thing is these things are square, so that fits right here. So all I need now is a square hole that's exactly this size. So for its simplicity's sake, oops. So for simplicity's sake, all I'll do is draw a line with a pencil, and I'll do the same thing on this end, and then of course the same thing on this end. I'll connect those lines, and there you go. So that's the same size as this. And then all we do, we simply just cut it out with an X-Acto knife. Now, I like to put a straight edge on it. Now what I'm doing here is I'm making a pattern, and I usually keep a couple of these hanging up on the wall until I wear them out. There you go. And now your PID should fit right in there. So now you take this, you place this wherever you want it on your box, your lid, the side, wherever it is. Just take a permanent marker, fine tip, draw your pattern, and there you have it. So I'll get to cutting this out, and then we'll be right back. All right, now I've got it cut out, and then you know, it always winds up being just a little bit smaller. It's better to be a little bit smaller than to be too big. So you'll take the X-Acto knife at that point and just shave the inside until your PID fits in the way you want it to. It doesn't take a whole lot. There you go. And so your PID goes all the way into the lid or in the side of the box, however you want, and then you've got these small things. They can be confusing. Now there's a set of ridges right here, and you'll notice on the back here, there's right here on this end, right here is a small keeper that rides those. So you've got these two small lugs that go into these two small holes, and then you push it down. Now once you get it down, you'll see this is like spring loaded. You can push it and that tightens it to the lid. Place the other one on the other side. Do the same thing. And there, it's not going anywhere. Now if you ever have to take this out, that's relatively simple. Matter of fact, really straightforward. Just take your finger. It'll pop right off. You can pull it out. And that will release your PID. I hope that helps. Well, until next time, happy distilling.